It is noted that 3.5 million children have been involved in neglect and abuse cases in the U.S. The Department of Family and Children Services, also known as DFACS, was created to help children involved in these type of cases and that are in deep need of a home. Behind me here is the Southwest Atlanta office, one of the 4 offices in the city. The DFCS office helps thousands of children and families with things like food stamps, energy assistance, or TANF benefits. The department has seemingly good intentions, but many people involved with it have had many complaints on how effective it is. Foster mother Margie McLeod sat down with us and gave us her story.
I had a friend when I came back from overseas in Europe. I was in the military for 20 years. I always had children, with me, always. And I didn't know about foster care. And I had a friend, she passed, and she had a foster children. She said, Margie, you always getting into it, and you always bringing people in your household. And that's how I got into it. That's how I got into it. Foster parent one day social worker came in one day, brought a child to me, didn't even have one pamper, one little bottle, and just gone, and gave me the baby. That was it. And that baby was in with me for 6 months before they know that baby was in my house. Wasn't getting no check, wasn't getting anything. And I worked, I paid. Child, she had to go to nursery I paid for 6 months. And then when I called them, they say, Miss McLeod, we didn't know that baby was in your house. And this is for real. I found out HIV, bipolar, hepatitis C, and other medical mental condition, and also I think ADHD, bipolar, all that.
With multiple protocols in place, these kids are still not getting the right support they need. Ashley Wilcock, the Director of Office of Child Advocates, tells us the things that need to be done when a child is brought in.
I will say this, every time a child comes into foster care, DFAC's policy is very clear that that child is to have an appointment with a pediatrician and with any specialty doctors or specialists that they are aware of they need to go to. But I have consistently seen, to be honest, not all the time, but generally that policy is followed. And one of the first things that's scheduled for a child when they come into care is to go to a doctor. Because keep in mind, it may be the first doctor's appointment they've gone to in years. There are a lot of system challenges, right? And there are a lot of individual cases where things may not have occurred in the time frame that they should have, or things weren't provided, or services weren't provided. That happens. I mean, it's just the reality of, we've got, almost 14,000 children in foster care, and that number has increased over the last couple of years pretty drastically and continues to rise. So you have still, I think, 30+% turnover. And so when you have all those statistics come together, you are necessarily going to see failures in individual cases. And so I would also suggest that it's not just the responsibility of DFACS and as an oversight agency of OCA, but also it's really important that foster parents raise the bar and make certain that the kids in their home are getting all of those appointments and all the medical needs are being met. Okay, so as kids get older in foster care, there are a number of different things that should occur. One is before they turn the age of 18, there should be a transitional roundtable that DFACS does, and the goal of that transitional roundtable is to identify what are the resources, what are your needs, what are the things to help you as you turn 18 and become, under the definitions in the child welfare system, an adult and no longer a child. They should have ILP services, the independent living program, and that is to provide things like, how do you have a budget? What do you do to open a bank account? How do you save money? What are resources? How do you find a job? How do you fill out an application if you need to get Medicaid or insurance benefits? How do you even do? No, nobody knows that. No kid knows how to do that. Even in a two-parent home where they've never been removed from that home, a lot of kids don't come out of the home knowing how to do that. They ask a parent or a caregiver. And so the goal is to provide them a skill set so they know even where to start.
With all the negativity surrounding DFACS, there are a line of positive stories that need to be told. Latia Terry shares with us the time DFACS helped her get her children back.
And she was really helpful. She came right in she looked around. She was like, well, you know, I've interviewed the doctors and teachers, and my son is 7 years old. So she's, you know, I did thorough investigation, and none of the information that was told to me was I getting from any of these professionals or people around you. So, you know, she looked around and she was like, well, the kids will be back with you within the next 3 days. So it was just positive. And then after that, we had situations, and I was able to actually call her, leave messages, text messages, get papers faxed over, and she was very quick about everything. Like, it would always be within 24 hours she would get back to me, or sometimes she would answer right away and say, I'll call you right back, I'm on a case right now. She did. She cared about mostly the well-being of my children. When she first walked in, she, you know, she was just looking around and asking questions, and, you know, she even looked in the refrigerator to make sure there was food in the refrigerator. So she was diligent as far as, you know, making sure they were okay, but she also cared about me, you know, like, what's going on, why would he do something like this, and why would he say that this was true, and, you know, verifying where I was at the time and were the kids in care, and, like, you know, different things. So I felt like she did care about me.
If you or anybody has witnessed child abuse or neglect, call the DFCS Center at 1-855-GA-CHILD. For GSU TV, I'm Malik Brown.